Hi friends, welcome to Sanjeev Kapoor Khazana. This is Shailaja and my recipe today is a traditional one with a slight modern twist. I am going to show you how to make a quinoa poha. I am sure you are quite familiar with quinoa. It's been doing the rounds at supermarkets for quite some time and you've probably used it in a lot of dishes as well, perhaps in a salad or even as a substitute for rice or maybe in baking and in desserts. But today what we're going to do is substitute it as poha. Poha is, as you know, a typical Maharashtrian dish which is made out of flattened rice. So the base of the recipe is pretty much the same. So we'll just substitute the poha for the cooked quinoa. So let's take a look at some of the ingredients. Quinoa, onions, curry leaves, mustard seeds, chopped green chillies, turmeric powder, grated coconut, chopped coriander, roasted and crushed peanuts, boiled potatoes, salt to taste, oil. Okay, so just a couple of tips on cooking the quinoa. The quinoa has a slight bitter flavor to it and you want to obviously get rid of that flavor. So the best way to do this is you want to just rinse it at least once to get rid of that bitterness. So I am just going to add some water to this and this is now ready to cook. So I have about 1 cup of quinoa out here and it cooks exactly like rice. So the proportion would be, say, 1 cup of quinoa and you'd use double the amount of water, so that we're going to use 2 cups of water for this. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll just add this in here and I'm going to measure double the amount of water. So we've put the water with the quinoa and you want to just let it come up to a boil and you would want to then turn the flame down a little bit and cover it, and this would take at least about 18 to 20 minutes to cook. And the check for doneness is basically, obviously the quinoa will look cooked and it would have absorbed all the water, and you'll see that each grain will have like a small little white tail. That's your best bet at it being cooked. Then we will temper it with the rest of the spices. So we'll let this simmer now for about 20 minutes. Okay, so while that quinoa is cooking, I think we can go ahead with tempering the rest of the spices and getting the base for the quinoa poha ready. So we will just add some oil to this, some mustard seeds. So we'll wait for the seeds to crackle a little bit and we can now add some of the curry leaves. Next I am going to add some of the chopped onions. And the best thing about cooked quinoa is the way we've cooked it today. You can even store it in the fridge for about, say, maybe 2 to 3 days. It stores really well. So it's really nice to keep it handy because then you can, say for instance, make this up as breakfast one day. You could even use it in your salad or if you're baking with it. So it's nice to have it handy and it stays well for some days. So the onions are getting nice and cooked, and at this stage we can now go ahead and add some of the turmeric, fresh green chillies to this, and we'll just give it a nice stir. Okay, and next we have some chopped boiled potatoes which are going to go into this. You could even use boiled green peas, they go really well. Carrots work great. Of course, if you're using things like cauliflower and all, then you're probably turning it into a rice more than the poha. Poha traditionally has either the boiled green peas or the potatoes, so those two work great. And this is almost ready now. Like I said, it's really fast to cook and good to eat. So I'm going to turn this off right now and we will then add our cooked quinoa to this. Okay, so quinoa is looking fairly cooked. It's been simmering for almost 20 minutes now. We had covered it. the water has all been absorbed by the quinoa, and I can see it has these little white tail kind of things coming out. So that's a sure sign that it's nice and cooked. Now we have our spices ready for the poha, and I'm going to use the quinoa and put it into the poha. But say for instance you wanted to use the quinoa at a later stage and not immediately, what you could do is just spread it out onto a plate, and just the way we do with pasta, you want to just drizzle it with, you could just use regular cooking oil. That way the grains stay separate and it doesn't kind of all you know, clump up and get messy. So I am bringing this back onto the flame. I am just going to spoon this into the mixture here. So just gently move this around so the spices coat the quinoa well. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off the heat, and I'm just going to season it with some salt, and we'll just stir this again. Okay, so I'm just going to plate this lovely quinoa poha right here. I'm just going to put this in this bowl. So I have some roasted crushed peanuts. I love the flavor of roasted peanuts in poha. And then I'm going to just add some chopped coriander. And what I love, of course, in poha is freshly grated coconut. It just makes it so flavorful. There you go, our quinoa poha is ready. This is such a wholesome, nutritious, delicious way to eat quinoa. I hope you are going to make this for your family, and thanks for watching.
Do subscribe to our channel on YouTube if you like our videos. Stay connected. Happy cooking!